Hello everyone, Justin with Deep Dive Stocks here, and today is your after hours market dive for September 16th. It's a Tuesday. Let's go ahead and get started. If we look on ES futures, we see green candle, but so that's bullish after a recent bearish stint. Maybe early signs of price like flattening, so we might need to tap these LDPM supports, which are currently located about 2% down. If we start seeing a little bearish liquidity pop through here, then definitely a risk for needing to test that support. And if we zoom into the 15-minute to see how local conditions are doing, we see that not well. So if we look at from Monday at market close, what do we have? We had this nice bullish liquidity at first, but we're testing support. We had a little bearish print start poking through. We see evidence of this aggressive ask popping in, which is never good in that after hours pre-market, right? There's not a lot of liquidity there to begin with. But we overcome it. We get bullish, aggressive ask walks in. We tap support, success. But then another aggressive ask walks in around 6 in the morning, and the LDPMs were not successful in supporting that. And so it seems the market opened with this bearish liquidity that started right around 6:30, and the rest has followed. So on the 15-minute, this is pretty bearish. We do see a little bit of an aggressive ask cascade. So if we put on, let's just see if we have a scoop going. Anytime, take your time. Do we? Yeah, actually, a little. It's noisy, though. It's not the best of scoops, but we can see that this aggressive ask cascade did prompt some dip buyers to enter the market. So that is currently keeping spot above, above going down more. But, so that is tentatively, I wouldn't say bullish, but stabilizing for the price, as we see that these dip buyers have come in and stabilized the price. But if this bearish liquidity continues, then there's definitely concern that eventually those dip buyers, they're going to realize maybe this isn't a dip, and so they won't be buying, and price will go down. So outlooks are still bearish on the 15-minute, and we have that cool, lukewarm, bullish interpretation of the data from the daily, which shows that yes, we have bearish or bullish LDPS prints, but it's not doing us a lot of good right now in terms of spot. And we do have a little bit, these LDPMs are looking a little, so definitely worth keeping an eye out. And that 15-minute, like we said, is pretty bearish. If we get to the GME on the daily, we see that the breaking through this LDPM L7 that we've kind of been tracking is well underway with another 3% day, which is exciting. If we zoom in, we see conditions are pretty bullish as well. There's no near-term resistances that we have to overcome. Looks like in the pre-market we had a little bit of this bearish liquidity pop through, but as soon as market opened, we jumped right above. And so it looks like bullish is the name of the game on both the daily and the 15 minutes for GME. That's pretty exciting. Little, eager bid. So we're pushing up to the ask and we're flowing up to the ask. So that's pretty bullish. Moving right along, I thought maybe for the last equity to check would be NVIDIA, who finds itself with continued bearish liquidity and testing LDPM L5 once again, although at a slightly higher spot than it did previously. The name of the game is if this bearish liquidity continues, then we're going to fall through that support, that LDPM L5 support. And then the next one is down at LDPM L7, which is about 7% down. The chart is deceiving on how much space is there. And then if we have to make it all the way down to LDPM L6 for support, if that bearish liquidity continues, then that's all the way down at 13%. And at least on the daily, that looks like that's what's happening. We have this eager ask, so the ask is pushing down towards either the mid or down to the organic bid, and we see that it looks like it is down towards the organic bid because the liquidity is flowing to the bid. So it looks like the LDPM L5 support is already sort of starting to hold its own with that bearish liquidity. On the 15-minute, if we zoom in, maybe we get lucky and we have some bullish liquidity, and we don't. This is a huge, let's watch this. There's a line going on here. So this is Friday. We end Friday on the 15-minute with, so we had this, yeah, that was that annoying day. And then, so we get that bearish liquidity as the markets close. It tests LDPM L5 support and then immediately breaks through in that pre-market session. The bearish liquidity continues. We get a little conversion to bullish, brings us to the resistance. We break through, resistance, we break through. And notice that this is a bull trap. We did actually make it to LDPM L6 on a single candle, but it got rejected in that same candle. So then we ride support for a while, we turn bearish, we lose that bull trap status and just become bearish. And then as soon as that bearish liquidity kicks in, it looks like, well, as soon as market opened with that bearish liquidity, dropped spot right to LDPM L5, which has been doing a crazy, we can see the crazy acrobatics these bids and asks have been, doing while they've been, dancing with each other. So it falls to that LDPM L5, bearish liquidity continues, and then that's what we saw today, which is just continued bearish action. And it looks like that is the expectation going forward as well. So we have bearish prints on the near term or in the local environment for both. Did we see ES futures yet? Actually, I think we did, yeah, because then we had that bearish breakthrough. So we have near-term bearish on ES futures, near-term bearish on NVIDIA, with NVIDIA having that long-term bearish outlook as well. ES futures have this lukewarm kind of bullish outlook, but, a little lukewarm. And the only thing that is overtly bullish currently is this GME on the daily and the near term. A little concerned given that, we want LDPM L5 initially or soon rather than later to kind of start following spot up. We don't want this mixed LDPM stack. So the sooner we get to a bullish LDPM stack with this bullish liquidity, the happier I'll be. But nonetheless, for now, this is still pretty bullish. And it looks like the next stop is LDPM L6, which is still another 10% up. So pretty exciting. But all right, guys, this has been your after hours market dive with Deep Dive Stocks. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.